What is up, guys? It's your boy, Big Is, and welcome to today's video, where in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Bill Bilichick, who is, as you all know, one of the greatest head coaches that had coached in the history of the NFL, who is also the current head coach at the University of North Carolina, UNC Tar Heels, if there's any Tar Heel fans out there. As you probably already know by now, that this past Tuesday night, that we have heard the news that Bill Bilichick has been snubbed from being a first ballot Hall of Famer. And of course, it's been 2 days since the story has been out to the media, of course, in the sports media world, that he getting snubbed. And not just the sports media world, but in the media world in general, about Bill Bilichick being snubbed out from being inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is mind-blowing as for me, because I'm a diehard Patriots fan. I grew up watching the Patriots dynasty, not from the early years, because I didn't really saw football until up till 2007 during their undefeated season run, which of course that led to the Spygate incident, and then of course Deflategate after that in early 2015. Or late 2015, or late in the month of January 2015. That's what I'm trying to say. It was early 2015, but it was late in the month of January, kind of like what we're in right now, right? So today I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the whole thing, and of course, I'm not happy about it one bit. So before we get right into talking about this, let me say this. I am planning on getting back into making gameplay videos on my main channel, Biggest Games, which of course I always leave a link in the description where you can literally check it out and click on that link, and then you can go on to the Biggest Games channel and you can subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can stay up to date on all the latest gameplay uploads. Because I'm thinking about coming back soon, so that way I can finish the series I have, because I also do want to play newer games that I have as well. And I do hope in the future, hopefully, that we can play some newer games that are more exclusive on the PS5 and whatnot, right? So only time can tell, but right now I am planning on getting back to doing gameplay videos while I'm still doing review videos like sports and any other movies or TV show content, which I do have those type of videos on the way. I do know about the Supergirl Lobo trailers. I do know about Daredevil Born Again Season 2 teaser trailer that came out. And then there was a new Mario Bros trailer of a Yoshi trailer that came out, as well as Star Wars Dark Maul TV show trailer that's coming out as well. Be on the lookout here on the Biggest Plus channel for those videos next week. I'm going to try to get as fast as I can with those, because I've been having a stressful week as it is. If you live in any areas that involves a crazy snowstorm, you already know it's been hectic when it comes to cleaning your vehicles, right? So give me patience, and I will definitely get those videos up as soon as I can possibly can. So yeah, I just want to let you guys know before we get right into this video. So now, let's get into this video. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all my latest review videos uploads, pretty much, or my review uploads. And maybe I'm going to say review uploads from here, so because it sounds more better than what I just said the first time. So without further ado, let's get right into this video, shall we? So let's talk about this snub, about Bill Bilichick being snubbed from the Hall of Fame. This is a man who's been a head coach throughout the Patriot dynasty. He first got signed on to the Patriots in the year 2000, in the offseason of that year, which of course it was the offseason of the 99 NFL season going into 2000, where in that season, that's where Bill Bilichick became the New England Patriots head coach for the first time, which, fun fact, if you didn't know, he could have gotten the New York Jets job, But at the last moment, he actually switched around his decision and saying, nope, I'm not going to the Jets. I'm going to go to the Patriots, which, of course, we all know it led to becoming a Patriot dynasty from 2000 all the way up to, for me at least, 2020, because Tom Brady ended up walking out the door into free agency after the 2019 season going into 2020. So pretty much in that time span, Bill Belichick has been in 9 Super Bowls, won 6 out of the 9 times that he went as a head coach. And even before he became a head coach of the New England Patriots, he also was a defensive coordinator for the New York Giants during the mid-1990s. Of course, during the days of Lawrence Taylor, that bad man himself, that bad brother himself, that was dominating the way he was during his time before then. And Bill Belichick won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants as a defensive coordinator and then 6 more as a head coach. So pretty much Bill Belichick has 8 Super Bowls in his coaching career. But you might be asking, and of course, why did it lead to this snub? Of course, the first thing I will talk about is what they actually admitted when they brought this report out was the scandals of Spygate and Deflategate. So for those who don't know, what was Spygate and Deflategate? Spygate was an incident during 2007's NFL season where the Patriots were playing at MetLife Stadium against the New York Jets, and at the time, it was Rex Ryan as the head coach for the New York Jets at that time period. And pretty much the reports came out then that the Patriots organization were using cameras that were spying on the Jets sidelines, that were pretty much cheating, obviously, but they were looking at plays and they even knew what plays they can use for themselves before the Jets even executed those plays. Of course, the league found out and it resulted in a $500,000 fine for Bill Belichick and the Patriots organization as a whole. That's what Spygate was, and that was during the regular season of 2007. Ironically, I did watch that game, but during that time period, it was literally my early years watching the Patriots, because that was during the time when I actually saw the Patriots for the first time. And as a kid, watching their football games, and I remember I watched it on a very bad grainy quality on the television because I was at somebody's place at the time in that time period when I watched that game. So I didn't know, as a kid, I did not know too much about Spygate until years later when we got to Deflategate. And if you don't know what Deflategate is, Deflategate was literally the deflated balls incident when we were playing against the Indianapolis Colts in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium, where we were literally blowing them out of the building. And this was during the time when Andrew Luck was still playing in the National Football League. And we literally blew the Colts out of our building. And it felt like you were watching like a college football game, right? But then the reports came out after that game, like a day or two after the game against the Colts. That's when things got suspicious, and it turns out that the balls were deflated. The balls that, that the quarterback has to throw, and then, of course, your receivers, tight ends, or whoever can end up grabbing or catching, right? Pretty much catching. And so instead, what the league did at the time was, of course, instead of them investigating it thoroughly, of finding out what happened, they literally put the blame on Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, which we will discuss about Tom Brady in this video, so bear with me when I say this. They put blame on Bill Belichick and Tom Brady for deflating the balls, which had led to a lawsuit. Tom Brady had to go to New York City because that's where the NFL headquarters were at. And, of course, he got sued for it, but even though they did the whole court process, and it didn't even last it that long neither, to be honest with you. That court process, I remember then, which was around late January of 2015 when this happened, goes back 11 years, which is crazy. And they didn't find nothing to Tom Brady or Bill Belichick being linked to deflating the footballs. But they still did get fined $250,000 each, as well as the organization got fined with that. That's pretty much $250,000 that they got fined from, So and then it turns out that the deflated balls was actually a ball boy who was working within the Patriots organization at the time. If my memory serves me right, I think the ball boy said that he only deflated the footballs because he wanted to help his team win to get to the Super Bowl, which of course this was during the Super Bowl 49 run. And because of he did that without the knowledge of the Patriots organization, he got in serious trouble for that, and as a result, the ball boy did get fired. But that's not what these voters think in this day and age when it comes to voting for Bill Belichick. Because the voters now, think of us now, 11 years later, Bill Belichick was in a ballot for the voting for the Hall of Fame to get into the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. And the voters literally used Spygate and Deflategate as an excuse for why he's not getting into the Hall of Fame. And you know it's so bad when you have a guy named Brian Polymane, I think that's his last name, come out on ESPN on an interview saying pretty much, I don't know who I voted for. I don't even remember who I voted for. And I'm just sitting there like, how in the world do you not know who you were voting for? Trust me, I might end up cussing out of my mouth at any moment because this is how frustrating this sounds and stupid and idiotic how this sounds. But literally, he doesn't remember who he put on the ballot. Like, come on now. That's what we call some bull right there. That is literally bull for what he's literally said out of his mouth. And on top of that, like, Bill Belichick fell under 10 votes, which he only gotten 40 out of the 50 votes in order to be on the first ballot. And of course, that is just ridiculous all in itself. Because if people know, Bill Belichick is the greatest coach that ever coached in this game. And he's the second coach all time on winning football games. And the only coach that has more wins than Bill Belichick and any other head coach is literally the late, great George Halas, who used to be a Chicago Bears head coach back in the old days. Any older generational Bears fans will know that history of that head coach. But my goodness, they literally admitted it out of their mouths that the Spygate and the Deflategate played a reasoning into the voting process, which is, to me, disgusting, absolutely stupid, disgraceful, idiotic, and many other things I can't think of on the top of my head. But that's how crazy enough as it is. And now it leads to my second thought on, or my second theory, or whatever you want to say it, as could this been motivated, like a political motivated move, like in an intentional sense. Like, I heard Christopher Mad Dog Russo just talked about this yesterday on ESPN First Take, where like he talked about his thoughts and opinions as well, what was transpiring of Bill Belichick not getting that nod of into the Hall of Fame. And he believes that Robert Kraft, after Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, he believes that Robert Kraft doesn't want to see Bill Belichick anymore because, of course, the friction between Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, pretty much their partnership pretty much ended after the 2023 NFL season. Christopher Mad Dog Russo believes that if it's possible that Robert Kraft did not want to have Bill Belichick on the same year that Robert Kraft is getting inducted as well, because Robert Kraft is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. And if that is the case, he also thinks, Christopher Mad Dog Russo thinks that Brian Polymane, who knows Robert Kraft, could have played a huge role of an influence of not getting Bill Belichick into the Hall of Fame. And if that is the case, I would not be surprised if the league ended up investigating it. Let alone that it's already crazy enough that the Hall of Fame people, the people who runs that institution today, released a statement that they are going to look thoroughly back towards the voters again. And if they find out that anybody had misused their right or privilege to vote for certain people they want to get into the Hall, then of course they're going to take their rights away from voting for anybody that gets into the Hall of Fame. But if it is true, and I don't know if it is, it could be possible maybe that could play a role into Bill Belichick not getting into the Hall of Fame. Even Bill Belichick himself said, dude, I literally won so many Super Bowls. I won 8 of them, which he's pretty much referencing both as a coordinator and 6 of them as a head coach, and still not get a first ballot Hall of Fame. Like, what more can this man can do? That's why they think this could be politically, oh my goodness, I can't speak, politically motivated from Brian Polyman and maybe Robert Kraft. Who knows? I think Robert Kraft is a nice guy who's done a great job for our organization for all those years. But we just don't know, because I can't accuse someone for motivating themselves to say, oh, I don't want Bill Belichick into the Hall of Fame because our friendship, our partnership has ended a couple of years ago and I don't want to see his face or something. I don't know. I honestly don't know if that is actually the case. But that could play a role, but who knows? But the third thing I wanted to say is, of course, the voting system as a whole for the Hall of Fame. I didn't know that they did revamp how they did their voting process. But of course, it still is a broken process in the voting process for voting these type of votes, because like voting for a nominee or something, I don't know how they do it, honestly, but my goodness, it still is a broken system, even despite the fact that the Hall of Fame institution said that they're going to do better because they knew they made a mistake of not seeing this coming, that how much backlash this was going to get. It's almost like the incident with Terrell Owens, because remember, Terrell Owens, when he got into that nomination for being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it's not too long ago where he actually did get into the Hall of Fame, we didn't even give that much like the same criticism to the people who runs the Hall of Fame as much as we're doing right now with Bill Belichick, because we all know Terrell Owens was one of the best wide receivers in his position during his tenure. Of course, he had a lot of good competition, but he was definitely a great wide receiver, and the fact that he didn't get nominated, which he is in the Hall of Fame now, but this was during the days when he was getting processed into the voting process, it's almost like, what in the world were they thinking? But what in the world are we thinking for not getting Terrell Owens into the Hall of Fame? Like, it makes no sense neither. It's like saying, if Terrell Owens can't get in, if Don Shula could get in, the late great Don Shula, who was the only head coach in history that actually got a perfect season. The Patriots almost did it in 2007 until we ran into the New York Football Giants out of all teams. But if it's like saying, if Terrell Owens can't get in, Don Shula can't get in, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, whoever, literally, then that means nobody can get in, because if credibility, like credentials, sorry, not credibility, credentials is not enough to get in there, if this is just like a popularity contest at this point, then the Hall of Fame will literally be the Hall of Shame. That's what it is going to be like. If this is all about popularity contests, why the would you think of that, you know? Why would you think this is going to be a popularity contest? Like, that doesn't make no sense to me. It literally makes no sense in the voting process. Yeah, it got revamped, but it doesn't really do nothing if you're not going to vote the right people to go into the Hall of Fame. Even in other sports had this same issue. In baseball, they had the same issue with Pete Rose because of the gambling issues that he had back during the late 70s into the 80s. And then, of course, Barry Bonds was another issue because he was using steroids and whatnot. Like, this has been an ongoing occurrence for so many years, and they know how broken the system is. And then, of course, it leads me to the next question, or not the next question, but like the next thing is pretty much it turned into a big public outrage where a lot of people in the sports media world, big time sports influencers, I can say like guys like Stephen A. Smith, Christopher McDougall, Russo, Ryan Clark, and Jeff Saturday. Who else I'm thinking I'm missing? Even people who are not in broadcasting, like Jimmy Johnson himself, the great Jimmy Johnson, who actually helped the Cowboys win some Super Bowls. Even he is pissed off on how they're treating Bill Belichick, because Bill Belichick and Jimmy Johnson, they know each other. They're friends. They know each other. And the fact that Jimmy Johnson, he literally had to go on the Pat McAfee show or somewhere and literally express his frustration as to why Bill Belichick didn't get into the Hall of Fame. Even Tom Brady today, the great Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, I don't give a damn what anybody tells me, literally came out and says that how could Bill Belichick not be a first ballot Hall of Famer? After this man played with him when he came into the NFL as a 6th-round pick. He's been with Bill every single day. He literally admitted it on a sports talk show that he's been with Bill every single day and learned from him. He knew he was one of the best coaches in the game. How could he not be a first ballot Hall of Fame? It does not make sense to him, and I don't blame him. It doesn't make sense to me neither, because I know there's going to be people out there, and I understand there's going to be people out there that didn't like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady because some of them are going to think about the cheating scandal, because if you're thinking about because they didn't get in because of the cheating scandal, then you're living under a rock, my friend. I'm sorry. You're living under a rock. You're living in denial. You're living in delusional, and you cannot accept the greatness that they brought to the Patriots franchise and to football as a whole. But if those out there who does know their greatness will understand, just because they cheated and they did pay the consequences for it doesn't mean that they can't get into the Hall of Fame, because that has nothing to do that much with playing football. Because I understand they use cheating advantage, but they got caught from doing it if that is the case, and they literally paid the fines like I mentioned to start the video. They literally, the Spygate thing was $500,000 each. $500,000 in total. That's the $500,000 mark. And then the Deflategate $250,000, which is the $250,000. So all I'm saying is that despite the scandals, throw those out the door. Like, throw those out the window. Like, that doesn't mean nothing if you have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time on your team, as well as one of the greatest head coaches of all time. As a diehard Patriots fan, I'll defend it till the day I die. That's how honest I am with frustration, that you can listen to my voice on how frustrated I am, and already cussed a little bit in this video alone. But my goodness, Jimmy Johnson though, if you saw his interview, he literally cussed out the Hall of Fame people, the Hall of Fame committee, whoever runs that institution in Canton, Ohio. He literally cussed them out for not having his best friend into the Hall of Fame as well. He knows this is ridiculous and everything under the sun. You know, it's like saying to our elders, sit your ass down, man. Like, literally, sit your ass down, because like, you have no idea what the sport is if this is turned into a popularity contest for the Hall of Fame. I'm trying to think of something else that could also play a role, but I don't think I can think of something else. All I can think of is just how bullshit it is, how they're treating the system now. Because it's like saying any great head coach or player, when their career is all done and dusted and they literally can't get into the Hall of Fame from credentials alone, and it's just a popularity contest, that is just like the most idiotic, stupidity, disgraceful, everything under the sun type of thing that you can think of. Like, who the runs this stuff, right? Who really does run this stuff? It's frustrating. As a Pats fan, because I know here in New England, they'll agree with me, and then Pats fans around this country and even across the world will literally agree with me when I say it's so pathetic that that's how this is run. This system is run for going into the Hall of Fame. We're in 2026, and this is still an ongoing problem that's been going on for decades. It's literally stupid. It's annoying. It's disgraceful, and it's shameful that this is how we got to at this point in time. The last thing I will say, because I don't want this video to go super long, because I'm almost getting close to the 30-minute mark, is if they can do this is the final thing I'm going to say. If this is the same treatment that they're giving Bill Belichick right now, how he's being treated and not getting into the first ballot Hall of Fame, it's most likely they're going to do this to Tom Brady. They're going to do this to Tom Brady too, because Tom Brady played for Bill Belichick, and they're going to use the exact same excuse. Just watch. they're going to use the exact same excuse for his potential involvements during that time period of the Patriot dynasty, which in my eyes, and then many Pats fans will agree with me when I say it, is that literally there are years that we didn't even needed to cheat. Before the Spygate incident, we literally won 3 Super Bowls before the Spygate incident when we had Tom Brady as a young quarterback. After Spygate, what did they do next? They went to even more Super Bowls. Of course, they took 2007 and 2011. We lost those 2. But we went on to win Super Bowls by beating the Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 49, which has been a long while since Super Bowl 49. And then we won Super Bowl 51, in my opinion, one of the greatest Super Bowl games in NFL history. Very first Super Bowl to ever go to overtime. And as well as literally the first Super Bowl overtime game in Super Bowl history. And we came back being the first team to come back from 25 points and ended up going to overtime and winning that game the way we did by 6 points, which was a 34-28 final score, overtime score. And then, of course, we went to Super Bowl 52. We ended up losing that game against a backup quarterback against Philadelphia Eagles with Nick Foles. And then, of course, our last Super Bowl, which was Super Bowl 53, which I will agree, it was one of the lowest scoring Super Bowls in Super Bowl history. Literally, everything I literally just said out of my mouth, before Spygate, they literally won 3 Super Bowls. After Spygate, we get 2 more Super Bowl appearances. And then, next thing you know, Deflategate started. And Deflategate, we ended up winning that Super Bowl there in that year of the Deflategate. And what did they do after Deflategate? After Deflategate, they literally went to 3 more Super Bowls. And we won 2 out of the last 3, which was 51 and 53. That was it. That was literally it. And, of course, Roger Goodell, if people, you can literally find this video on the internet. Roger Goodell, after accusing Tom Brady of Deflategate, he literally went up to this man in Super Bowl 51 when we won and shake the man's hand, knowing that he was wrong for accusing him the whole time. He literally accused him in the biggest way imaginable, which is crazy. It was literally crazy, and to the biggest degree that Roger Goodell knows he was wrong. And this man is the most hated commissioner amongst football fans. Tell me if I'm lying in the comments section if that is the case, right? And that's why Tom Brady broke a lot of records. He did it. It still is number 1 on every record that he has broken in his position. And if they're giving Bill Bilichick, who had a great credential of a coach from head coaching, even assistant coaching, because he did win 2 Super Bowls as an assistant coach on the defensive coordinating side of things, imagine the same treatment they're going to give to Tom Brady. Can you all imagine the same treatment? If we thought we're talking about Bill Belichick now, how we're talking about him, just wait until Tom Brady will be next, because Tom Brady is going to be the next person in line from these so-called people who run the Hall of Fame institution in Canton, Ohio. Because while you like Tom Brady, Bill Belichick or not, if you like both of them or not, they still did great things in their respective positions. Whether you like Tom Brady or not, because I just admitted to you that I was a Patriot fan for 18 years. I was 11 years old when that Spygate thing happened, and I literally did witness it, even though I didn't understand it, because like I said, I had bad quality when it comes to cable. And not a great soul TV back then. But literally, I admit it to you, I can understand the scandals, but that's one thing. But how does that affect the person's resume in another? That's the biggest delusion, the biggest deception that people won't understand. What they don't understand is that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick still did great things on the football field together. That's what people don't understand. They will still think about Spygate. They will still think about Deflategate, and that's what these voters did. They thought about Spygate and Deflategate to being the biggest issue why Bill Belichick won't go to Canton, Ohio, and won't get a golden jacket. And like I said, like Tom Brady is going to be the next person in line. He's going to be the next person in line that they're going to go after for not putting him in the Hall of Fame. Because Tom Brady is going to cause a massive, massive controversy amongst all of us as football fans and then sports media people and everywhere else, and even influencers on YouTube is going to have the same reaction as well, but it's going to be even worse compared to Bill Belichick, what we're seeing right now. The good thing is they did admit that they made a mistake, and now they're going to look into it, but the damage is already done at this point. The damage is done. There's no way they're going to fix that, and I do disagree with ESPN's Mina Kimes when she was talking about on First Take today that they should literally redo it like a quote-unquote redo. Nah, I would not do a redo at this point. I got to wait until the next year's cycle comes in order to get another chance to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Because think of it this way. If you redo what they have done with the mistakes they have done, it's going to taint the Hall of Fame voting process even more than it already is. Because it's already bad enough. This voting process is already bad when it comes to the Hall of Fame processing. But doing a redo is not going to fix that solution because they literally admitted their faults pretty much. They admitted that they messed up bad in the worst way imaginable. So I don't agree with Mina on that one. That's just kind of like delusional thinking in my mind. But I do agree with Stephen A. Like this is everything under the sun, disgraceful, shameful, non intentional. I don't know any other words under the sun at this point because it is ridiculous. That's how we got to this point in time. So it's just crazy. And if Tom Brady ends up being that next target, like I said, you heard it here first, and you heard it from many sports media outlets, like whatever shows you watch on ESPN, Fox Sports, whatever, it's going to happen the same thing. So I'm hoping and praying that it doesn't happen to Tom, but we're going to have to wait and see, right? So we're going to have to wait and see because if Tom Brady doesn't get into the Hall, that means nobody should go into the Hall of Fame. Like that's how it's going to be. The Hall of Fame is going to expose themselves more as being nothing but a popularity contest instead of your actual credentials on what you achieve, what you accomplish when you're on the football field. So, yeah, that is pretty much my take on all of it. I probably missed some things in there in between of that, but like, yeah, that's what I think of all of it at this point in time. And I wanted to make this video so badly because I needed to get my opinions out and get this off my chest because as a diehard Patriot fan, it's like insulting to us as past fans that Bill Belichick, who's done great things for the Patriots organization, and he's getting this disrespect like this. It's so stupid, idiotic, everything under the sun, you know? It's just crazy, right? But if there's anything I missed in this video, please leave it in the comment sections down below of your thoughts and opinions on all of that because it's just wild to me that's how this voting process literally works, that it turns into a freaking popularity contest. No, excuse me, not freaking popularity contest is the more better way to describe it. Because since it's already been 2 days, I tried to make sure I didn't feel frustrated, but you probably can hear in my voice how frustrated that is for me as a Pats fan, and even diehard football fans who are not Patriot fans knows the same truth that I'm telling you right now, that Bill Belichick deserves 100% to be in the Hall of Fame. But hopefully they do fix that error, and hopefully he does become a first ballot Hall of Fame next year, but time will only tell. Time will only tell. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little rant of mine, or I know some people are going to look at it as a rant or actually know that I'm expressing my emotions on this on a raw thing. Let me know in the comment section down below on the whole thing that I just told you about with Spygate that I know of. Spygate and Deflategate, possible intentional motives. Could they go after Tom Brady next? Like, leave everything in the comment section down below. And like I said, I promise I will get to more of the other videos that I mentioned early on in the video for next week, if not the week after that. But I will be returning to making gameplay videos soon. I will leave my main channel, Biggest Games, link down below in the description so you can go check that out, and of course subscribe to that channel as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Regardless, make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification so that way you can stay notified for all my review uploads. click here to watch my MonsterVerse Season 2 teaser trailer, and click here to watch the Avengers Doomsday Black Panther trailer. It has been your boy Big Iz, and I'll see you guys in the next one.